Hello, this is your host Alex Nash, and today we've got a great interview to share on the topic of soap operas. A genre going back to the 1930s, soap operas have taken many forms throughout the years, with their unlikely origins starting as serialized radio dramas for American housewives back in the 1930s, often sponsored by cleaning and soap companies, hence the name. But it wouldn't take long before this radio format became one of traditional TV's most iconic fixtures, with UK favourites like Coronation Street, EastEnders and Emmerdale taking part in a vast international catalogue. But what makes these programmes so widely engaging? Ripping plot lines, often tackling current issues. Many soaps aren't just a tool for entertainment, providing education as well. A range of issues like LGBTQ+ rights, women's rights, sexual health, natural disaster have been covered. These often create many dramatic moments, like when EastEnders' Dirty Den served his wife Angie the divorce papers on Christmas Day, garnering 30 million viewers on BBC One in 1986. With a genre so steeped in drama, intrigue and variety, I could ask for no better guest than a lifelong fan, Jane Nash. With a history of watching many soap operas, iconic and obscure, she's an expert in all things soap. And now I'm here with my soap opera superfan. Say hello, Jane.
Hi, Alex.
Okay, so how did you start watching soap operas?
My earliest memories of watching soap operas was in the late 70s. I used to go and visit my granddad, and as an only child, I had free reign of the viewing schedule, and I found that a programme called The Sullivans, which was an Australian drama, which was on every day around lunchtime. And I started watching this, and I got absolutely hooked.
And which soap operas have you watched over the years?
Okay, so I've watched loads and loads, all sorts over the years, from Australian soaps like Neighbours, Home and Away when I was a student, Prison Cell Block H, Sons and Daughters, to the more glitzy and glamorous soaps like Dallas and Dynasty, the American ones. I've also watched some really obscure soap operas such as Families, which I don't know if anybody remembers.
Looking back with 40 plus years of soaps under your belt, What would you say are your top 5 favourite?
Bottom one would be Prison Cell Block H, because it is just wacky and just really full of revenge and just totally crazy. Fourth place would be Families, the daytime Aussie soap. Third place would be Coronation Street, because I have literally been watching this programme for so long, it's like part of my DNA now. Second place would be Sons and Daughters, again just totally crazy characters and intertwining storylines that go off on all sorts of different journeys. And top spot would be Brookside, which I absolutely adored.
And have you visited any of the locations or met any of the actors to do with these favourite soaps?
Yeah, apart from visiting the beach from Home and Away, I finally got a chance to make a dream come true by going to the Coronation Street set on the tour 2 years ago. I loved doing this. It was a dream come true. On the way in, we got to see Peter Barlow, one of the characters, driving into the studio.
Chance encounter.
Yes.
And you talk quite a lot about different soaps from different places. Comes to the differences between English and international soaps, the differences.
Okay, I feel that soaps like Neighbours and Home and Away were definitely aimed at a younger market, as their characters tended to be younger. Most of the action would centre around places where younger people went, and the older characters just seemed to sort of provide support to the storylines. I think American soaps are definitely more glitzy and glamorous, whereas British soaps I think tend to focus on more, or well known for focusing on more gritty real life issues. So yeah, less glamorous but still fun.
Would you prefer an English soap or an international one, like an American or Australian?
Well, I find English soaps very familiar, obviously, as they portray our life here in the UK. I really like the setting of the Aussie soaps and sort of the outdoor life that they portray, and I was inspired to go to Australia, having watched Home and Away and Neighbours and seeing the beaches and the scenery. It actually inspired me to go there during a gap year. So,
well, it's good to know you've got some variety. And with all this experience watching soaps and going to these places, what would you say are the key elements to make a good soap opera?
I look at across the board at all the soaps. I think the key elements of a good soap opera, so it's one that's got a mixture of funny moments, suspense, sad moments, just like the whole gamut of like different emotions that we can feel. I think it also needs to have believable characters and an element of surprise.
Like the return of Dirty Dead in EastEnders?
Yes, yeah, somebody like that, yeah, even though that was highly unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they bring characters back, Coronation Street's very good at bringing back characters that have left.
And what would you say are the most memorable moments and plot lines that you have seen?
So this is a really, really hard question to answer. However, I think the top 4 would be the body under the patio in Brookside, which I think everybody knows about. Who shot JR in Dallas? The tram crash in Coronation Street, because that was very, very tense. And I think the 4th one, probably from a teenage point of view, memories, would be Charlene and Jason's wedding in Neighbours. And the famous theme tune that played during the wedding.
What really makes a plot line, or a soap in general, are the kinds of characters.
Yes.
And what would you say are the kinds of characters that you find the most memorable?
So from my point of view, currently I really like Glenda in Coronation Street. She's a really strong, colourful, over-the-top character, but she's got a heart of gold. I also like Evelyn in Corrie. She's got great wit and these fantastic withering looks. So really I would say that the characters are like witty, a bit sarky, but they ultimately use this to cover up their vulnerabilities, which we often see through the storylines.
In contrast to all of this, you said what's great about soaps. What makes a bad soap opera? Do any examples come to mind?
Okay, yeah, so there have been a few turkeys over the years with soap operas. I think there was one called Albion Market. This was really dire. It had really bad acting, wooden and really unbelievable characters. The setting was boring because it was just a marketplace. Nothing happened. El Dorado was another flop. I did watch a bit more of that one to give it a go, but ultimately, yes, it wasn't as good as some of the other soap operas around.
With their popularity over the years, do you think soaps have just been entertainment, or have they been a tool for education? Because I know from my research and watching soap operas myself that pretty plot lines tackle real issues in society.
Yeah. So I think nowadays, I think they're both entertainment and a tool for education. I think they used to be more for entertainment in the past, but I feel as time has gone by, storylines have started, like you say, have started to mirror more closely what's happening in society, to highlight, issues that are happening in the world around us.
Which storylines have stood out in this regard to education?
I think one of the most memorable issue-based storylines of recent times was the Nina and Seb hate crime in Coronation Street. This story, I think people know, was inspired by a real-life event, and I feel like it was covered very well in the soap, to have a clear message that violence towards people who look different or act differently cannot be tolerated.
And with soap operas going forward with plot lines like you were talking about then, how do you think soaps need to change to continue being relevant? Reality TV is on the rise. How do soaps compete with that?
Well, I think soaps can be different from reality TV or those types of reality TV programs, because I think soaps need to continue to reflect what's going on in society and not be afraid to tackle difficult issues.
Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Jane, for giving us your expert opinions and experiences. I hope this interview has been informative, especially as soaps continue to change and evolve in the hectic world of TV. Recently, with the rise of reality TV and streaming, the future of the genre seems uncertain. However, all is not lost. Our old favourites like Coronation Street, General Hospital, and even Neighbours in the form of a 2023 reboot keep going, with many moving to streaming services rather than broadcast. So again, thank you for listening, and look out for any future content.